I do think that Commissioner Smith is on his way. I haven't heard from him, but I'm assuming that he will be on his way. But I want to welcome each one of you to the Halifax County Board of Commissioners meeting on this Monday, October 3rd, at 9:30. This is the second time that we've met in person in a very long time. But anyway, thank each one of you for being here. And meeting will officially come to order this time. And I'm going to yield to Mr. Quarles for a minute.
I want everybody to know I'm not being a cavalier and coming in here dressed in shorts. And my wife had to leave for work very early this morning, and my fingers don't work. So getting dressed up is difficult for me without her. So I did the best I could. That's the reason for my casual dress.
Well, thank you for being here, Mr. Quarles. We appreciate you and all that you do, and certainly we understand that and respect that. At this time, I'm going to ask Commissioner Quarles if he would lead us in invocation, and then after which we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance in unison.
I'll be happy to.
And those of you who wish to join us, please stand.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be here today. All of us face challenges, and the county is no exception to that. I will say that I think with your guidance, that this group faces challenges as well as anyone in this country. And I pray in the future that that continues. We pray that you put your guidance over us today and allow us to make decisions that are beneficial to everyone that we were elected to represent. I pray for all the people that protect us, both locally, all first responders, all military, and everyone under that umbrella. I pray that you will continue to guide us as you have forever to direct this county in the best manner that we can. I have supreme confidence that you will. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to thank you all for that, and thank you, Mr. Quarles, for leading the devotion. I do want to also acknowledge Commissioner Manning. He's not present today, but do keep him in your thoughts and prayers as well. And I believe, Ms. Denton, we also live streaming this meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all our meetings going forward, thanks to all of us for last meeting, we're doing that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So, at this time, I trust that the commissioners have had a chance to, and there's the Honorable John Smith. Good morning, Commissioner Smith.
Good morning, sir. It may not have those on me, you better call my name.
Well, you know, Commissioner Smith, whenever I would go into class late, the teacher always called me out. I'm just teasing. Just so you know, we've gone through the devotion and we're at the adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, without, I'm ready for the adoption of the agenda as presented.
Okay. All right, motion made by Commissioner Quarles, second by Commissioner Wood. In further discussion? All those in favor by the sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. I think I did finish my thought about Commissioner Manning. Just keep me in prayers and thoughts. He's recovering in rehab, and we do want to keep him in our prayer. Thoughts and prayers. Okay, conflict of interest. In accordance with the Halifax County Board of Commissioners Rules of Procedure in the North Carolina Jones Statute Section 153A-44, it is the duty of every member present to vote on all matters coming before the board unless there is a conflict of interest as determined by the board by law. Does any board member have a known conflict of interest with respect to matters coming before the board today? Commissioner Johnson.
No conflict.
Commissioner Claus.
No conflict.
No conflict. Commissioner Smith.
No conflict.
And Commissioner Brewer.
No conflict.
Madam Clerk, let the record so reflect that the 5 commissioners present today do not have conflict with any matters coming before us today. Ms. Denton, your new person on the management team, are you going to do that under your report?
I can.
Okay, all right, okay. All right, now, item 1 on the agenda is the consent agenda. A is the approval of the minutes. Item B is budget amendments. Item C, property tax collection refund and release September 2022. Item D, approval of the fireworks permit applications. And item E, Roanoke Rapids Great School District lottery funds request. Any questions or comments from the commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion for the approval. That's your pleasure.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Brewer, second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion?
Only discussion is, I think, going forward, we should pay special attention to item E. Because I think that'll be coming up with other school systems. And it's worthy to point out that point.
Okay,
And I'm not asking any questions, just that, what we're doing with those lottery funds. You don't have to explain anything.
Debt service, it's a meeting.
Right, that's what I'm saying, but as we move forward with other projects, it's noteworthy to point out what Roanoke Rapids did with their lottery funds. That's it.
okay. I get your point. They got skin in the game with this thing. And the new schools project, that's what he's alluding to. New schools project, because they won't be able to use the lottery funds for that, but we got some other things in mind they can do to have some skin in the game. And the county manager and I, along with the county attorney, and others, and you all know that, with the new Weller High School and the new pre-K through 8, I believe, Eastman School.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
It's just, we had talked about it last year, it was an item last year, and also because it was a routine for the next 10 years, just to stick it under consent.
I totally agree. Yeah.
And it'll be a small amount to make sure. Ms. Johnson, got something you want to say?
It's not about that, it's another question.
From this.
About the consent agenda.
Okay, anything else about the, what we were talking about item E? If not, Ms. Johnson, we'll move to you.
It's just a point of clarity for me, and I know we've done this over time. As I look at the document that talks of rather supporting information for fireworks approval, and my question is, I saw where each of the entities that were applying had liability insurance. What are we supposed to do in terms of liability as a board of county commissioners?
Good question, Ms. Johnson. I'll give to Ms. Denton or the county attorney or Ms. person.
I would say if a municipality is having a fireworks display, our responsibility is because we're required to issue the permit, which is on your agenda.
Yeah.
It's not our responsibility to provide the insurance coverage or any kind of risk liability coverage for that municipality's fireworks display. It is our responsibility to see that they have it in place, which is one of the things the fire marshal does when he's processing the application.
Okay. Yeah, I got that part of it. I knew the responsibility of the municipalities, but I was wondering if we had a responsibility as far as liability is concerned, and if we needed additional insurance.
No, ma'am, I don't think we do.
Okay.
Because it's not our fireworks display.
Okay.
And the fact that we issue the permit is the only responsibility we have.
Okay.
And good question, Ms. Johnson. And as Attorney Rollins answered, I saw our fire marshal out there shaking his head, going, agreeing with everything that Attorney Rollins said. So I won't ask you for any further clarification about it.
If I knew he was back there, I'd let him in.
But he was agreeing with you 100%.
I'm always glad he agrees with me.
Yeah. Okay, good question, Ms. Johnson. Anything else? Do we have a motion and a second on that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, that was in the stage of discussion, right? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign? Okay. Very good. All right, the next item on the agenda, boy, this is a good one. Special recognition. It's a resolution for the appreciation honoring David Lee Paget, our fire chief at David Community Fire Department for 50 years of service. Chief, will you come up with it?
I used to convert my coat up, I gotta walk a bit more. Good morning, Chief. Good morning. I'm gonna take this mask off. Chief, I wanted to say that I talked to Vice Chairman Manning, and he can't be here today because, you know, you and Commissioner Mann as well as myself go back a long way.
Yes.
And been friends for a very long time too, other than, you know, knowing you in your profession. He just he can't be here, but he just said that he wish you the best, wish you Godspeed, and he's so glad that we're doing this.
Thank you.
And he also told me that if he was here, that he would ask me, could he do this? He said, Ryan, I want to do that instead of you. I said, okay. If he was here, that would be the case. But anyway, Chief, the resolution of appreciation for the services rendered by David Lee Paget, Fire Chief, David Community Fire Department, Halifax, North Carolina. Whereas David Lee Paget has proven to be a dedicated and extraordinary public servant who has gained admiration and respect of the Halifax County Board of Commissioners and the citizens of Halifax County. Whereas David Lee Paget joined the David Community Fire Department on June 4th, 1972, and in 1975 began his tenure as Assistant Fire Chief until 2008 after being promoted to Fire Chief. And whereas during his tenure, Chief Paget faithfully served as Secretary and/or Treasurer for more than 35 years and has been involved in many decisions affecting the character of a community, each time exhibiting sound judgment and concern for the citizens of Halifax County. Whereas over the past 50 years, Chief Paget has demonstrated wisdom, creativity, and community spirit, all tempered with exceptional common sense, which a lot of people don't have anymore, and engaging personality, which gained the admiration and respect of his fellow firemen and the citizens of Halifax County. Now therefore be it resolved that Halifax County Board of Commissioners does hereby thank and express its sincere appreciation to David Lee Paget, Fire Chief, in recognition of 50 years of outstanding service and dedication to the service of the David Community Fire Department in Halifax County. Be it further resolved that Halifax County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim October 3rd, 2022 as David Lee Paget Day in Halifax County.
Thank you.
That the original of this resolution be presented to David Lee Paget, and that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of Halifax County Board of Commissioners on this October 3rd, 2022, Ron J. Bryant, Chairman, Board of Commissioners, Andre H. Williams, Clerk to the Board, and Assistant to the County Manager. Also, Chief Paget, I want to say that some months ago, I can't remember exactly when, but I was at the ceremony where the state had come down and recognized you as well. And but you know, you're such a tremendous person. Thank you for all that you do in the David community. Thank you for all that you do for Halifax County. You're certainly one of Halifax County's finest, and I appreciate you. And I'm also appreciate calling you friend as well.
Yes.
And at this time, I want to make the motion that we adopt this. I so move.
Second.
Okay, motion by Vernon Bryant, Commissioner, second by Commissioner Quarles. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. Now, before I let you speak, Chief Paget, you always a man of few words too. But before I have you say anything, I'm going to ask any of my colleagues if they want to have anything that they would like to say very briefly. I'll start with Ms. Johnson and go around. If you don't, that's fine, but I just want to give you that opportunity.
We wish you the best on your retirement. We hope that everything during retirement will go the way you'd like. You get a chance to travel and be on vacation and enjoy your family. And we thank you for your years of service.
Thank you.
Mr. Quas?
I'll just say that it's amazing to me that people volunteer their time to help others, as you have for this many years. And we take it for granted, and it's not something that is lightly done. You leave your family, your children to go out and help others. And that's a special call, and for that I'm very grateful.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, David, for your 50 years of service. It's hard to get 7 years nowadays in volunteer. And I'm kind of like Ms. Johnson and Mr. Falls. I hope you enjoy your retirement. And I thank you for giving of yourself to serve the folks of your community.
Thank you.
Mr. Patrick, I don't know you personally, but I can say, as I look out and see that you've served 50 years as a volunteer fireman, that I know that you had to make many sacrifices. My late son was a fireman, and he served as fire chief of the Children's Fire Department, and many mornings I would call him, and he said, well, Dad, I just got home. I said, I had to get up 1 or 2 o'clock, and I've been out fighting fire since 4 or 5, until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So I do understand a little bit about what it has required you over the past 50 years, and I'm sure that you've been out many more times than he had the opportunity to go out. And certainly, we as a county, and I personally thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Ms. Denton, as county manager, you have remarks?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chief Paget, for your service. Volunteerism is a dying breed, but you are quite the example of what exemplary service looks like for this county. So we appreciate your service.
Thank you.
And may I add one more thing?
Yes, sir.
50 years of volunteerism, you can't even find people to work now.
Jake, I'll put this up here, and you can take this to your seat, but go ahead and make your remarks, and just turn around and do it if you would like to.
Okay. Well, first off, I'd like to thank y'all for this, and I thank the citizens of our community, our area, our district, and Halifax citizens as well. We've been all over the county. We've been on mutual aid calls down to Scotland, Acton, Enfield, and many times to Weldon. But it's just, I didn't get in and say, well, I think I'll stay 50 years. I didn't know if I would. One day turns into another, then another. You keep going, and you say, well, I enjoy the camaraderie of the fire department. It's brotherhood, and everybody looks out after each other and loves each other, and so the time keeps going by until, like I said, you get to where I'm at, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like 50 years, but when I look back, yeah, it has been through many times of struggles and stress, and but it used to be easier than it is today because people were more willing to volunteer, and we have been lucky, been very fortunate. We've had people to step forward and do the things that had to be done. We come back in from a fire call at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and our work wasn't done. Sometimes we had to make a repair on the truck. We had to get it ready to go out on the next call, or we'd have to repack hose and get our air bottles refilled and things like that. But I want to thank y'all for this recognition and for y'all's confidence in me. But most of all, I want to thank the Lord, thank God that I was able to maintain the health in order to stay in the position to keep giving to the fire department and to the community. There's a lot of people, and we've had members that had to step aside because they were having health problems, and I do understand that. We stand by them. If there's anything that we can do to help them, we've had. Back in the early days, I remember just about every weekend we were having a fundraiser project. So we had to raise money to buy gas to put in the truck so we could go help somebody, but that's the way things were back then. and money's getting to where it's tighter now in some ways, but thank God that we are able to continue to operate, and we thank y'all for supporting us. We have came to the county commissioners in times past where we needed some help to keep the doors open, and the commissioners are always there. They've always been there for us, so I want to thank y'all for that too. But anyway, I'll close in saying that I've been blessed, like I said, to be able to maintain, like I said, the health to stay there, and because I enjoy all facets of it. I enjoy the brotherhood, and I enjoy helping other people. I mean, it's like if you come down the road and you see a little lady that's got a flat tire, she's not able to change it, and she doesn't have anybody to change it. You stop and help her change it. I know sometimes it's dangerous now, but there's been times in the past when I have done that, and really it didn't used to be as bad as it is today when you see the stories of somebody trying to help and then they suffer consequences that were not very good. But anyway, in closing, I just want to thank y'all very much for this.
Chief Patrick, you got some people with you too. I know it's 3 gentlemen back there with you. Introduce them real quick. Just tell us their name and who they're with or something real quick.
My name, I'm Doug Turner. I also volunteer at Davie. I also work for the county.
Okay.
I've actually been with the county going to be 23 years in January.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
My name's Chris Whitley, and I'm proud to know this man. He's also a member of my department, and both of these guys have put a lot into the fire department. They have helped greatly in making the fire department what it is today. Very good numbers.
Thank you, sir. Then we got our fire marshal there too. Appreciate you, Chief. Thank you for all that you do. Y'all take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we move to item 3 on the agenda, which is the public comment period. From my understanding, we do not have anyone for that. So we'll skip over that and we'll go to item 4, which are agenda items. Item A, Halifax County Convention and Visitors Bureau Annual Report. We're here from the President, CEO, Laura Bettman, and they have someone with her.
Yes, sir. This is Will with me here today. She's our administrative assistant at Richland College, Director of Technologies here. And that is a hard act to follow. Here, gracious.
Thank you.
Okay, get this technology going and we'll be in business. Okay. All right, it's working. It's not going to work. Good morning. I'm very proud to be here today to present, that's up the mic, okay, to present the annual report for the Halifax County Tourism Development Authority. Am I echoing? Is that okay? Okay. I always like to kind of remind you guys what our mission statement is. It's very simple. We look at it all the time and see if we can't make it better, but sometimes simple is good. Our mission is to promote the growth of tourism in Halifax County. And we work every single day to drive visitation to Halifax County, to tell the stories of the county, and to grow the economy of the county. And this is all in your report, so don't feel like you have to take notes. I know how interesting this is for everyone. All of these numbers that I'm going to give you today are created by Tourism Economics in collaboration with the U.S. Travel Association and Visit and See. And we usually get these numbers in September, sometimes late August, so it takes a while for us to analyze and get the report together. So we usually come to you in October. But the drum roll for today is that visitors to and within Halifax County spent over $119 million here in 2021. So how does that compare with previous years? Well, we're up 38% over 2020, and I could just sit down, but we all know 2020 was a very difficult year for our industry. So if we look back to 2019, which I think is a more important number in comparison, we're at 6.49%. We all know things are costing more, so I think we're reaching recovery, if not at recovery, for tourism spending in Halifax County. These are very rewarding numbers and very good and going in the right direction, very positive. We still have some issues for full recovery, and I'll talk to you about that. So where do visitors spend this money in our county? Well, they spent over $26 million in lodging, over $39 million in food and beverage. We have some good food here in Halifax County. They spent over $10 million in recreation, over $8 million in retail, and over $18 million in transportation. Travel and tourism, this is a number I'm very proud of, directly employs more than 700 people and indirectly employs over 1,000 people in our county. And these jobs are getting to be better paying jobs as time goes on. The total payroll generated by direct employment in the tourism industry in 2021 was over $26 million. State tax revenue generated by these tourist dollars was $5.4 million. And over $4 million in local taxes were generated from sales and property tax revenue from travel-generated and travel-supported businesses. That helps all of us locally. In fact, visitor spending in Halifax County saved each taxpayer over $194 on their taxes. Hopefully next year we'll get over $200. Oops. Okay, so how do we get here? Our organization is a destination marketing organization, and sometimes I think I need to repeat that for people because people are a little confused about what we do, but our number one job is to spend the dollars that are left in our hotels by visitors. That's called occupancy tax, and that is our total funding source other than grant funding. No local tax dollars, none of the tax dollars that your tax department collects are used in our efforts. So I'm very, very proud of that. I always say we eat what we kill. And the more money we bring in, the more money we have to spend to bring in more visitors. This is an example of some PR. PR is media that we don't have to pay for. We had some nice features this year in Our State magazine on Enfield and on Halifax. And we had a great feature on the I-95 road trip, which featured a lot of destinations in Halifax County. We even had a playlist to go with that live on our state's website and on ours. So we really focused on our communities along I-95. I-95, as you know, is our bread and butter. Our print publications, our message in those reached over 10 million readers this year, and you can see some of the publications we're in. The Visit and See Travel Guide, Our State Magazine, Travel Taste and Tour, Go Escape. We're very proud of being in the USA Today Black Progress issue for African American History Month in February, in the Hunt Fish Guide, or even in the North Carolina Regulation Guide for hunting and fishing. You have the back page of that. So this is just an example of the places we pay to tell our message. We did a run of full-page ads this year in Our State talking about harvest days, Christmas in Halifax, and shopping along I-95, our great fishery on the Roanoke River, Prelude to Liberty at Historic Halifax, and also Sylvan Heights Bird Park that we're very proud of. We were able to work with Our State this year and do a new video, which I hope you all saw. I try occasionally to email you information of things I think will be of interest to you as commissioners. I hope you're getting those, and this video lives on our website. It was a great moment to tell a story of a day trip between Halifax and Weldon. Great food, great history in Halifax, great shopping in Weldon, and our newest distillery there, which is bringing in a lot of people. So we're able to use digital marketing in a great and growing way. It's become more and more important to us. We're able every day to tell our story to our over 13,000 followers. And this year we were able to garner over 1 million impressions, over 75,000 engagements, and over 54,000 video views on our platforms of Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we know how important that is, and we keep beating that drum and telling our story there. And what do we talk about? We talk about the great food in Halifax County. Can y'all tell I'm hungry this one? We talk about history. We talk about great places to stay. We talk about exciting events that happen to our citizens in Halifax County. Brooke Simpson being an example of that. She's getting ready to be on Broadway, so we'll be talking more about her. Our largest marketing tool probably is our billboard campaign, and we garnered over 127 million impressions last year on permanent and temporary billboards along I-95. We really think those work to get people to take our exits and see what's here. So our CDB does a little more than just destination marketing. Our board feels that we need to build product here to help our community grow the impact of tourism, and we were proud this year to support efforts in Weldon to build the boardwalk along the river, upriver and downriver from the boat ramp. So far, that project has garnered over $850,000 in funding, and we're hopefully going to get a part of grant in the coming year. We are very excited about the work happening with the Underground Railroad, and we support their quest to find a home to tell that story in Halifax County. We've been able to work with Weldon on a wayfinding program. This is just a preliminary design, but hopefully you'll see these signs and exciting things going up in Weldon this year with our assistance. We also partner a lot with your Economic Development Commission and Kathy Scott to make things happen, and we were able to partner to do a DOT study at exit 173 on the Weldon side to make sure the traffic flows well for the new projects that are happening there. And one of those projects is a Fairfield Marriott that announced this year, and they'll have their groundbreaking ceremony at the end of November. So that's going forward, and hopefully another hotel will build there as well, and some more retail. So we appreciate that partnership and have a great working relationship with that organization and Kathy, and we're excited about the future of that quadrant of our exit. One of our biggest projects also this year has been to work on America's 250th, North Carolina's 250th celebration of signing of the Declaration of Independence, but more importantly, the signing of the Halifax Resolves. The plans are unbelievable. People keep coming forward with great ideas. The historic site is really engaged and really excited. You guys are appointing a commission. Christina Wells is doing a great job getting great people on that commission. Hopefully we'll get together soon. We really need to start laying out a calendar and a budget, and we've got ideas. We've got things that have to be built. We're going to do a new wayfinding package for Halifax this year, and also we're going to really try to sign people from the interstate to the town, and then we also are going to do a new branding campaign for the whole county around this 250th celebration. Happening in 2026, but kicking off here in Halifax on April 12th, 2024, which is basically tomorrow, so we have to really get to work. Christina, we're going to need her. I hope you guys will let her help us a lot. One of the other projects we're working on to get ready for that is we've been able to support development at the Bradford Denton House. We're funding a new blacksmith shop there and a new outdoor kitchen, and this will dovetail with what's going on at Historic Halifax and bring living history even more into the experience there. We're also really grateful to be able to work with your Economic Development Commission and with legislators to bring tremendous tourism legislation dollars home to Halifax County, everything from the Roanoke Canal Trail to the Andrew Jackson School, or things happening in Historic Halifax to tell that story of the Underground Railroad, funding new positions at Halifax, working on the William R. Davey House, and also dollars coming directly to our Main Street programs in Enfield, Roanoke Rapids, Weldon, and Scotland Act. So we're looking forward to those dollars making a big impact in the coming year. And if it happens in Halifax County, we probably sponsored it. I will not read that whole list to you, but I just wanted you to know that we do support so many things that we feel that bring visitors in, everything from harvest days to Prelude to Liberty to the 4th of July fireworks. Also, I didn't know if you really know that we put money in operations of the Roanoke Canal Museum and also maintenance of the Roanoke Canal Trail. We fund all the Civil War markers in our area. We try to help the Veterans Museum. We fund the NC Farm apps here. We have car charging stations in the county. We fund all kinds of youth sporting tournaments and also places for them to play. We're really proud of the Roanoke Valley Rocks program. There are lots of new fish going out in that program. We even fund the lights on the interstate, so at our exit. So we are proud of the things we're able to do with these occupancy tax dollars. I always think it's interesting for you guys to see where visitors go most in the county. Our most visited attraction is Meetup Mountain with over 193,000 visitors. Sylvan Heights had 55,000 visitors last year. The Canal Museum and Trail 34,000. Historic Halifax 25,000. And Weldon Mills Distillery had over 50,000 visitors last year. So they're up and running and impacting our tourism community. Also, our dog run at the Visitor Center had over 51,000 visitors last year. That's about 142 visitors a day into the dog park. We don't count the dogs, we just count the people. So, most importantly to what we do and how we work with you guys is our board, and we're here today to say thank you for your consideration and your understanding of the kind of board members that we need and the requirements of our legislation. Duncan is here, Kathy Scott is here. I don't think we have any other board members here today, but they keep us on task. They design our program of work every year. They come to us with new and different projects and send us in different directions. We really wouldn't be the same organization without this board, and these are just a few of our members. Also, our staff, couldn't do any of this without them. Susan Wilhelm, our manager of administration, Don Nabolio, who's back at the office watching the front, our visitor center coordinator, and Rich Lithgow, our director of technology, who makes me look like I know what I'm doing here when I'm sitting here with all these buttons. So we appreciate all of them very, very much, and we thank you for your support and always being there when we have a need and being so positive when things happen in the county. Be happy to take any questions.
Lord, one thing that stands out to me is Minot Mountain is more than 3 times visited than anything else.
Yes.
I grew up a mile and a half from there. How does that community take advantage of that?
Boy, that's a deep question, and
That's a lot of people.
that's a lot of people. It's very close to the tribe. It's very close to Littleton. Littleton, as you well know, is taking great advantage of the tourism impact in our area, and they are just, with the Fitz Foundation, doing tremendous things. Lakeland Cultural Arts Center just opened. I met with them recently, and they are going to work with the mountain in programming. They're also going to work with Historic Halifax while the visitor center is closed to have a little visitor center there for them. They're going to be a great community partner. They understand the impact of Minot Mountain. I do think what we're lacking is the tribe taking advantage of those people coming in. Tony Brown is actually doing some consulting with them, and he is now on my board, so we've had a conversation about that. I always say if you guys would serve good food, have some craft, have some activity, it'd be very easy for those people to come from the mountain into Hollister. It's a lot of people. It's a huge, a lot of most of those people come from Wake County, so they're there for a day. They'd be happy to stay another day. There's great disposable income there, and you can see what a trail does, what a hike does, what a canoe adventure does. Outdoor travel, especially during COVID, became more and more important. So that mountain does a great job with programming. They have all kinds of tours. They have snake tours, and they have night sky tours, and those are always on our website. And I think people from Wake County take advantage of it more than local people do sometimes. But I do think that connection with getting those people to stay a little longer in that area and spend a little bit more money is a great opportunity for us. And hopefully with some new activity. I've talked to Barry Wilson with the tribe. He's engaged. Tony's going to be there now, so hopefully we can make that happen. That's very insightful and good question. We want them to come here, and we want to get more that let them have a good time and impact our economy even more.
Thank you. Got another question, Pat?
So just 2 more comments. One, if anybody wants to know how to present something, they should come study.
That was so nice. I was nervous.
Rich is the bomb.
He is the bomb. He is. Kathy and I feel very blessed to share him. Yes, he helps a lot of people. I don't know what this community would do without Rich. And Kathy and I do a really, really nice job sharing him. Sometimes I think poor Rich must go home and cry, but we don't fight over him at all. We do a great job. And he helped me yesterday afternoon. Yeah, he's night or day. He's great. He's great for our community. Thank you, Rich. He's blushing. Yay.
Any other questions or comments from anyone? We don't have to approve her report. The only thing I have to do is accept it, and I guess we get a motion for the acceptance.
Move for acceptance.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Quarles. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign of aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Laura, thank you so much for all that you do with your board and your staff. You do a tremendous job, and, you work under some difficult circumstances, with the COVID thing, and, little criticism that you got hit with the dog thing. And by the way, the dog thing is my favorite thing.
Thank you. That's our praise. Thank you.
But anyway.
We knew it would impact us.
Yeah, Laura, just thank you for all that you do. You work hard and it shows. Thanks again.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
Always somebody out there. When you go down there, there's always
The lesson is people travel with their pets. People care about their pets almost as much as they do for their children. This year, we're going to market our pet-friendly hotels, and if anybody has a retail place or a restaurant that will take pets, we'll put a little paw on it in our marketing, and we're going to focus even more on pet-friendly things this year, so.
That's great. Sounding not on what anywhere unless we make plans to buy.
That's right. Thank you all.
Okay, thanks again. At this time, we're going to move to item D on the agenda, appointment of the deputy tax collector. We're here from our Halifax County Tax Assessor, Mrs. Jane Lamb. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
How about Cowboy?
That's why I look so tired this morning. I lost a lot of sleep last night. I was out. I think I'm always giving up on football. So, I come before you this morning with two resolutions. They're very short. Doris and I thought it might be a good idea just to cover all bases in our office and make sure that in times of extended absence from either one of us, that our positions are covered for different things that might come up throughout the year. I think first on the agenda is the appointment of an assistant tax assessor, and that I recommend and request that this board consider formally appointing Ms. Doris Hawkins as an assistant assessor as allowed by North Carolina General Statute 105-297. This appointment will allow Ms. Hawkins the authority to perform my duties in case of an extended absence.
Okay, Commissioner, just so you know, the one that he's speaking about is the one that's after the collector, item C.
Okay, so I did them backwards.
Okay, we can deal with item C, just leave it like that. Item C is the appointment of the assistant assessor. What is your pleasure with regard to that? Ms. Johnson?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Johnson. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion?
I have a question.
Okay.
As the assistant tax collector, that's her official title?
Her official title by appointment by this board is the tax collector for Halifax County. And I'm sorry for getting them out of sequence. For the assistant assessor, which is what I just presented, it's a formal appointment as assistant assessor. I will still remain the tax assessor, but in my absence, she will be able to present to this board property tax appeals, requests for the acceptance of the schedule of values, stuff like that, just in case for some reason I'm unable to do so.
I read that, but I just wanted to make sure.
Sure. So, no, nothing changes with her daily duties or anything like that. No, ma'am.
So to be real clear, what the motion and the second is the appointment of Doris Hawkins as the assistant assessor.
Correct.
Okay. Everybody straight on that? All right. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, now we'll go back and let's do the appointment.
Yeah, again, I'm sorry for getting out of sequence. So it goes the same with the appointment of a deputy tax collector. In some cases, this is a job title in some counties. In this respect, it's going to be just a duty. Doris asked me to present on her behalf her recommendation and request of this board to consider formally appointing one of our tax clerks, Laura Hutchinson, as a deputy tax collector as allowed under North Carolina General Statute 105-349, Section F. This appointment will allow Ms. Hutchinson the authority to perform Ms. Hawkins' duty as tax collector as assigned to her in her extended absence. So if she needed to present a levy settlement or something like that to the board, her deputy tax collector could do so.
Okay.
Exact same thing, yes.
Yes, sir.
I'll
Yep.
make a motion.
All right, motion by Commissioner Quarles, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brewer. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you, Mr. Lynch.
Thank you very much. Again, sorry for getting that out of sequence, and we're doing this just as some, planning, because you never know what may come up, and keep
Ms. Hawkins and your thoughts and prayers as to she's recovering from a procedure as well. I know she doesn't mind me telling you guys about that, but she's doing very well and she'll be back with us very soon.
Very good. Wish her the best, and let's look forward, very good forward thinking on y'all's part.
Thank you.
Okay, next one is cyber security update, and we hear from Fred Bunch. All in right today.
Johnny Cash.
Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners and Clerk, County Manager, the rest of the board, management team, and of course my staff who's been more than gracious to help me and allow me to be able to have the opportunity to come up here today and present a small cybersecurity briefing for you all to tell you where we are. I didn't have a lot to present, and it's always dry when it comes to cybersecurity. It's just one of the biggest topics, I think, around the country right now. It's probably been talked about across every state as well as every city. So one of the things that I want to tell you about is what have we learned thus far. We must be realistic in our approach. One of the things that we haven't been doing as much of is implementing some of the cybersecurity practices and policies. So we're going to do that very slowly and briefly. We have a limited staff, of course, as you know. Matter of fact, one of my staff members are out today, so we're kind of running a skeleton crew even right now. And we're not just talking about cybersecurity for just this area, we're talking about the entire county. We got to prioritize cybersecurity funding as well, which hasn't been done in the past very much. I think one of the biggest problems is that local government doesn't look at cybersecurity the way that probably private sector did until later on in the years. And unfortunately, that's kind of costing us now. The existing cybersecurity partners that we have would better implement what practices we need to put in place today versus going out and trying to find new cybersecurity partners to partner up with and venture into that area. But we are also looking at the possibilities of going outside because we don't have a cybersecurity officer in place for the entire county. We have an extended staff of IT professionals out in health and DSS, but those young ladies are extensions of the whole. So we need a cybersecurity officer for the entire county, actually, and that's what this additional partnership would mean to us. Strongest emphasis is going to be placed on training as well, because obviously we're the weakest link. It's not so much about all the devices and equipment that we have, but how up to date are we on what is needed to be selected when you're looking at an email or you're surfing the internet. One of the things I want to do is thank you all for supporting us throughout the years, and that's county management team as well as the commissioners, obviously. You all have been paramount in us updating our network infrastructure, and that's what that is those closets that you all see around the county. If you've ever been in one, you'll see blinking lights in the closet with a lot of cables running out of it. That's the infrastructure, and that's what you all have allowed us to update over the years. We've changed out all those switches, which were 27 plus years old, actually, when I arrived. So over the past probably 10, 12 years, we've actually now managed to migrate all of those switches out, and we have newer switches in now, which allows greater visibility for us to see the entire network across the county, which we couldn't do before. We also implemented a 7-layer security for those switches, which goes through a series of security options when looking at the network. We also implemented Wi-Fi, which I know Ms. Boyd just said this morning that we're going to have to log on every time we come into the county. Well, that's part of that cybersecurity push. New technology is requiring that, especially here at our location. That's part of that 7-layer security option. We also moved from backup and disaster recovery. What that is my predecessor, Dale, and I used to come in at 7 o'clock in the morning every morning and go around to all of the county and swap out tapes and take those tapes over to BB&T. And we would leave them there in a vault for backup. So in case for some reason something went down, we would be able to use those tapes. Exactly. Well, we stopped doing that now, Commissioner Qualls, and now what we do is an off-site backup, an on-site backup, and a backup, obviously, an
other parts of the country in case of a catastrophic event. We redeployed Microsoft Office 365, something we couldn't do before. I don't know if you all remember, we were on Schooling, and we finally got off of those, gentlemen, which everybody was saying that they were so bad, but to be honest, Bill Jordan did a decent job, I think, for the area for a long period of time, but we couldn't log into our mail from anywhere in the country, right, or in the location, depending on where you were located. So on top of that, we implemented multi-factor authentication. We call it MFA. What that allows you to do is to have a second option that verifies you and validates you when you log into your email. Last but certainly not least, I think training staff to identify and flag phishing email attempts. This was something we just recently implemented called using an application called KnowBefore. So if you see that, that's what that is. That allows us to look at the actual potential phishing attempts and then flag those. Within your email, there is a button over to the top right-hand corner of the ribbon in your email account, and it says Phishing Alert Report. Once you report that, we get to see that report, and it sends that email to us, and then we can isolate the incident and see if it's good or bad and give it thumbs up or thumbs down. So that was the last thing we did. So what's the next steps now? The main thing is to communicate the importance of cybersecurity, I think, across the county, which has been, again, something that I think we've kind of put on the back burner. Follow basic cybersecurity best practices. That's going to be some heartburn for a lot of us because across the county we've been able to do pretty much what we want on the network without any interruption. That will change a little bit as we implement cybersecurity practices and policies. Implement a leadership-driven cybersecurity program. We will be having to collaborate with, I think, management team, county managers, and other department heads to ensure that we can obviously put together a comprehensive plan which will be more than just a statement or a policy, which is what we have now. So it'll be a series of policies probably within the cybersecurity policies, which will more than likely come out of the IT department for the most part. So a lot of work on our part, or probably on my part, unfortunately. Integrate cybersecurity with risk management. That's in case something goes wrong, we can make sure we can get the county back up and running, and we can assess it, go through the proper channels, make sure we're giving the public what they need to know and hear, and what we're doing to reverse if we had some type of breach or compromise. Evaluate cybersecurity practices regularly. That's something that we do already. Most of my staff, cybersecurity is just like breathing for us. Every staff member I have has to do security controls every day for each portions of their jobs. And then you got trained staff to prevent, detect, and respond to cybersecurity attacks. That's going to be our training that I talked about earlier called KnowBefore. Within that application, what we're going to do is start sending videos out. I'm going to try to limit those to, I see Ray, I don't know if he's still around, but he's left. But I'm going to try to limit those videos to about 2 to 5 minutes. But what it will do is, if in case you do select something, it would automatically let you know, and a video would prompt you to what you did and what you shouldn't have done. So it'll probably last 2 or 5 minutes, and that's one of the processes or ways that we're going to be training you on how to prevent those type of attempts. And the takeaway, creating 4 cybersecurity policies, which is, again, something we're going to probably pretty much be writing and putting forth to county management and management team to assess. And it's going to be quite a few. I would think, if I had to guess, anywhere from 7 to 12 of those. Conduct additional cybersecurity trainings, which we already do right now, actually, as we speak. Remain vigilant when using internet and opening emails. That's obviously something that we all have to partake in. And seek cybersecurity partners to develop a comprehensive plan, which is, we're going to have some assistance outside with this for sure. And that pretty much concludes what I have to say, but to be quite honest, I mean, cybersecurity is not going to be convenience, though. It's going to inconvenience us a little bit because we're used to kind of doing what we want and when we want and how we want.
365 helps you out.
It does.
They provide, I tell my role, well, it came from Nikki. Well, my guy called, anybody can put Nikki's on my email. He thinks it came from our other partner. He can open it.
Exactly.
Look, if you just hover over it, you can see where it came from.
At the end of the line, okay.
But they're out here all the time. It's something every day.
And it's getting worse, actually. You'd be surprised how many attacks we get per day, you don't just never see it. So we do. Exactly.
But they're after you all the time. We only have 5 people opening the emails, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's quite a bit. 700.
Ms. Johnson?
In the state meetings that I have attended, it's always stated there that the state will come in and assist you in a comprehensive plan. Have you contacted them as one of your partners to help with that plan?
We have. Actually, I didn't mention that. I took that out of the slide. Cybersecurity is pretty dry and boring for most people, but not for IT folks who love it. But I took that out. But one of the things was we had DHHS, Department of Health and Human Services. They did 3 assessments, I think, actually about 6 years ago. They did one for the health department. They did one for DSS. The one for DSS and health were not good. We had over 2,400 to 1,400, I think it was 1,400 to 2,400 hits of things we need to correct. That's a lot. So we have made some strides in that area, but we have still much to be desired. So we then went out and touched base with, I don't know if you remember Fortis, who the CEO of that company is actually, she was the CIO for the White House. So she created a company called Fortis, and then we had them assess us as a county, not just from the DSS and from health. And that wasn't well either. That didn't go well either. So we're now putting together those things to offset that. So we've kind of had the assessments, Commissioner Johnson, but we're still working on now putting those policies in place and implementing those things to mitigate those assessments.
Do you have a timeline for completing or working on a comprehensive plan?
Right now, we do not. I would tell you, though, that it's going to be an ongoing plan. Cybersecurity won't stop just because I put together a plan. It will be ongoing. The funding will probably have to be recurring. But I will say that we've made tremendous strides over the years, which has done a lot of the work, actually. So more than anything else, I think the policies and practices are our main goal, getting those things down on paper, enforcing those things. And then as far as the comprehensive plan itself, that will come after that. So you kind of build the policy and then you have the plan, right?
I understand your urgency because when there is a cyber attack, they hold the city and county hostage.
Exactly.
So it becomes a very serious problem. I know in Baltimore they held them hostage, and they ended up paying a lot of money in order to release their information.
Well, one of the things I said on the earlier slide was the data backup, data recovery and backup. What that does is allow us, in the case of an attack, to spin the county back up on those servers within an hour or so. And also you're backing up your data, so if they were to try to hold us hostage, they really couldn't because I have that data backed up and secured. I was on the strike team too with the state, with Michael Juser for the School of Government. So I got off of that team because I couldn't devote that kind of time as they were traveling all over the state to help other counties when they get in trouble. So, yeah, very familiar with that.
Well, I'd like to say that you and your team have always been very gracious when we run into problems, even individual problems. They'll come to our rescue and really help us. So I thank you and your team for your graciousness.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, you have a question?
Comments?
If not, of course, we don't need to approve this, but I do think we need to accept it. Can I get a motion for the acceptance?
I so move.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. You okay with that, Commissioner Coyle?
Yes.
Accepted. Okay, so it's all five, said aye. All right, Mr. Bunch, thank you so much for all that you do, and I echo what Ms. Johnson said in reference to you coming to help us out. You know, you come to my house, you come anywhere that's needed. We do appreciate you as well as the staff.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good report.
Come back and buy all right, you guys sing a song.
Let's take about 10 minutes.
Can't believe it's Monday
All
the first one, Central Communication Advisory Board, said the following action is requested if the board so chooses. Receive nominations to reappoint Richard Pulley.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Brewer. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign of aye. All opposed, like sign. Receive nominations to appoint Renee Perry. To replace Leah Denton. Motion by Commissioner Wood, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. All opposed, like sign. And then we gotta hold this open again. Receive nominations to appoint replacement for James Michael Hale. Okay, let's see, these were over here. Halifax County Semi-Quincentennial Commission. Following actions requested if the board so chooses. Receive nominations to appoint Charlie Hasty Jr. That's Chuck Hasty. Okay. Alfred Richardson, Julia Thompson, I think that's the wrong graphic superintendent.
Alfred is from the tribe.
Right, that's right. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. C.K. Wilson, Glenn Wilson, Katie Woodruff, David Harvey, and I think Danny Williams is the Wells School Superintendent. And of course, we know David Harvey is the NAACP President. Okay, what is your pleasure?
Move for approval.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Brewer, second by Commissioner Quarles. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Okay. And also, Christina and others who are working on that, thank you so much. I know it's a job. It's a tough job. A lot of the other jobs you got to do. Thank you so much for that. Because you're trying to recruit people to sit on there too. What is the next one?
Tourism Development Board.
Okay, all right, I'm trying to find it.
I'm kind of flying blind too, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I'm used to my computer anymore.
Yeah, I got my computer over here, but I got it on something else. I'm trying not to lose it. Okay, all right. Receive nominations to appoint Rachel, or is that Raquel? Thank you. Raquel T. Harvey to replace Kathy White.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Brewer. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. All opposed? Is that the last one? Okay, thank you. All right, next item 6. Well, we've been from the hardest working economic development and the best one in the whole state.
Well, let me get used to everything again, so it's been a while. I have sent, good morning, and I have sent you previously the economic development update. And Commissioner Brewer, Commissioner Smith, Chairman Bryant, all but Commissioner Johnson were at the Intergovernmental Association the other night, so you've already heard this, but I did want to highlight some items for you, Ms. Johnson. And my full report is online and included in your weekly update, but I just thought I wanted to make sure you are aware of these items. Okay, for our economic indicators, our unemployment rate currently is 6.6%. That just came out last week, and that's for August. That compares to 7.4% August a year ago. Our unemployment rate was 6.2% previous month, and it's creeping up just a little bit. That represents 1,252 people that are unemployed compared to 1,392 a year ago. Building permits were just over 4 million, and they were just over 4 million a year ago, so right in line. And our retail sales are the second highest recorded retail sales for the month of July since I have been recording retail sales, so. Yes, it is, and a year ago it was 55 million, so up about 7. And if we look at that at the end of this fiscal year, our retail sales for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2022, compared to June 30th, 2021, they were up overall 7%. Single-family housing permits were up 48%. Building permit values were up 275%, and that's a result of the Roseburg project, those building permits, because we keep up with Halifax County, Weldon, and Running Rapids to make sure we're covering what the permit values are for our county. And then our unemployment rate on average was down about 23%. So good news.
Go back. So the retail sales, $660.5 million.
Right, and that is as of June 30th, and it doesn't include this high month we just had. That's after. Absolutely, we're way ahead, about $20 million over last year to date.
County manager, that's a good thing.
And Ms. Duncan likes to hear that too. So, our Southern Economic Development Council, just some information I gleaned from, I didn't attend in person, I attended online, their annual conference, but we're expected to see a shallow recession that lasts as long as it takes to tame recession, which is estimated about 3/4. It's supposed to be a jobless recession, meaning that we're not going to see the unemployment levels that we have seen in previous deep recessions, and they expect that the feds will lower the rate back towards neutral in Q3 and Q4, just to give you that little bit of outlook. And labor is going to continue to be a challenge, and it's one of the biggest challenges for economic developers, and just really looking at trying to think out of the box of how we can help our industry meet their employment demand. Quick overview, this is a snapshot of foot traffic at Premier Boulevard, which is, everybody knows, Running Rapids is the hub for retail commercial development in Halifax County. There were over 5.3 million visits to this area in the past 12 months, and this is the 12 months ending September 30th, or the end of September. And that's 829,000 unique visitors that were on average 6.3 trips per visitor. But to give you just a quick 12-month overview, if you look, this is the end of August through, last September. You see post-COVID, because this compares year over year, we have been knocking it out of the park as far as foot traffic and things, getting back to normal. And then you see in May, June, you see a decline, and that corresponds with gas prices increasing. And then you look at July and August, there's a deep dive, and this is still focusing on that Premier Boulevard area. One of the major reasons that's showing up as to why this is happening, in addition to gas prices, is Chick-fil-A closed for remodeling, and they are a big draw for, visitors into Premier Boulevard. But very interesting information for you all, I think. Should be end of this month, before the end of this month, the 1st of November. They didn't want to close at this time of year, but it's when they could get their, contractors to get the work done, so. And I'm going to hit this briefly, and I'm not going to belabor the report, because I have several items for you in closed session that are really important. But looking at foot traffic and how it affects some of these brand names in the Premier Boulevard area, our Walmart, out of 149 Walmarts in North Carolina, ours is the 16th most trafficked Walmart. If you look at Chick-fil-A, 33 out of 112, and that's down because they've been closed for the last few months. Our Logan's, there are 10 Logan's Roadhouses in North Carolina. Ours is number 2 most trafficked. And then you go on down to Zaxby's. 115 Zaxby's in North Carolina, we're the 4th most trafficked. So it's just a lot of, traffic generated at this Premier Boulevard. And I think it's a reminder to us of how important that visitor influence is, but also in the need to cross-market. Just because this is Roanoke Rapids doesn't mean that Medoc Mountain can't benefit from the knowledge and marketing opportunity that exists with these people who are visiting. So just a lot of that opportunity. I won't go into a lot more detail. I will give you a quick Rosberg update. The construction of the Roanoke Valley lumber facility is well underway. We are constructing a sewer line relocation. We're still waiting for the sanitary district to take some actions. I'm still waiting. And Grace Drive improvements that are being made are nearing completion. They're just about done, and they've started on Powell Place, which is the other entrance to the facility. Bender Holtz is just killing it as far as commissioning their facility and gearing up for full production. Both of these facilities are hiring people in our community, which is really good. Still moving forward, West Point Stevens. We have an environmental attorney that we're going to be working with to help us get through these final steps. But our goal is to finish this project and negotiate and execute a brownfields agreement with a company at this facility by the end of the year.
That could be a big game changer.
It could be, yes. Fairfield Marriott, groundbreaking late November. Lots of great client activity, and I'll be talking with you about it today. I'll talk to you about a lot of these things. But one thing I want to point out, as much as we try to recruit new business, really the expansion of our existing business is the foundation of what we do, and having good relationships with our existing industries. And the Heron River Forest Products is another forest products related industry in our community, and their product is hardwood. And they have had issues for years with not really good speed internet, just an inferior internet speed. And so their president, Don Wright, called me about 9-10 months ago and said, look, I'm just going to have to think about moving my office operations to one of my other locations, probably Virginia, because I cannot run my voice over IP phones. I can't do video conferencing. It's becoming a productivity madness center here because we just cannot get done what we need to get done. And so we reached out to some alternative service providers, third-party service providers. CenturyLink we reached out to. It's going to cost $100,000 for them to get the level service they needed. And we're not talking about, mega service. We're talking about normal operating service. And so that was just not affordable for them. So I reached out to Roanoke Electric at that time. They didn't have any options that they could offer, but about 6 months later, I reached out to Roanoke Electric and said, just wanted to check and see if anything's changed. And Angela, who was their marketing person, said it just so happens, yes. And so a week ago, Roanoke Electric, Roanoke Connect was able to modify their plan and get them connected to internet. This company is so happy they're able to use their voice over IP phones and video conferencing, and it's just changed their productivity at their facility just by that small little thing to us that we're used to, but definitely an important part of their operations. And I won't go through any more of this, but you have a copy of this. I wanted to point out just a few items of interest, and if you have any questions, let me know.
I'll point out one thing. I eat lunch often at Bender Holtz. I pull down there and get a little sandwich and eat it, and just marvel at the traffic in and out. I don't know what to do with it, really fun. And for Glenn and Kathy and all the people that turn that from lemons to lemonade, it is remarkable. And I also am neighbors with Don, and he's out there. He said, look, this is a magnificent company.
It is. They are tremendous.
It's going to be huge for that end of the county. What we need to focus on is getting those people in one right now to come here that are coming in there. But That's going to be a winner. And if you think about what people don't realize, had costs been going forward, and correct me if I'm wrong, we'd have never gotten that money back that we invested. There would have been an investment. We got it back and a much better company. And kudos to y'all for that.
Well, and interestingly, the groups that were engaged on the Klossner side, what do you call them, the debt management company and attorneys, Cypress was the name of the company, but they won some national award recently for one of, I think it's for a small company, it's considered a small company in their standards, for a turnaround project, so they won a national recognition for their work in that turnaround, so it got recognized everywhere as being a positive for sure.
It's unbelievable the money they spent. They went and dug the whole thing up, 4 feet, put new soil down. And Barnhill, I'm friends with the guy at Barnhill that was one of the managers out there. He's good. They write us a check every week. We tell them, they write a check.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, appreciate it, Kathy, thank you for all that you do. We got a lot going on in Halifax County, as you all well know, and from Littleton to Hopgood, and I can just tell you about it, that Lakeland Arts Theater is just unbelievable up there. The restaurant, Patrick, I did go to the restaurant recently, had supper there, my wife and I did, and that was unbelievable. You better take your pocketbook with when you go. But the food is good, and
Save your money, right?
yeah, we save money, and but Silver Heights and Scotland Neck, and even that restaurant down in Hopgood, that little restaurant, I mean, yeah, unbelievable, Patrick. I mean, there's a lot going on in this county, and then you think about the Underground Railroad and all the presentation that Laura gave us this morning about her report, not just the hotel business, but the canal, and like you said, Medoc Mountain, and a lot of good things going on. So, when folks say that not anything going on in Halifax County, that is not true. You just need to find it, because there's a lot going on here, there's a lot to do.
And $1 billion in retail sales. That's major.
Yeah,
That's major.
and he turned to me when she was making the presentation and said, that's a lot of money.
That's very good for a budget.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. We're here from the hardest working county manager in North Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning again. Good morning, Commissioners. I have 4 items in your agenda materials, but I wanted to start off with one additional, and that's to introduce the county's new Human Resources Management Director. If you look over here in the gallery, you have Miss Kristen Shotwell. She is our new HRM Director, and she was an internal promotion through a competitive process, but I think we've made the transition pretty smoothly. We do need to order her a nameplate for up here, so she's official. But other than that, I think we're fully staffed in the management team, so we're very pleased with that. Happy to have her.
You have anything like to say real quick?
Well, I just want to say good morning. And just that I've been in Halifax, like DSM internal applicant, but I've been here since August of 2020, and I just really enjoyed my time here. I'm excited and thankful for the opportunity.
Thank you.
We're excited too. Now I have one more department head vacancy to fill. The other items in your agenda are just some fairly normal things. The first one is a retirement resolution for Lydia Sierra Davis from DSS. Just request your approval on that resolution.
Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Coyle, second by Commissioner Brewer. She's got a good first name there, baby.
I know.
That's my grandbaby's name.
She does.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. All those opposed?
If y'all don't see Vernon when you go to his house, you know where he is.
You're exactly right.
That is true. The next item, as you know, Halifax County was identified to be basically a contestant to be included in the Rural Partners Network, which is a program coming out of USDA that identifies counties in North Carolina to be partnered very closely with federal agencies and to have better access to their grants and programs. This was a very tight timeline. They did request a letter of interest to be submitted by September 26th, which was last Monday. And with not having a meeting, we needed to go ahead and get that in to be considered. So my request is that you ratify Chairman Bryant's signature on this letter, and you will notice that we are partnered with Northampton County as well. So Chairman Tanner's signature is also on the letter.
Second.
Okay, motion and second that said and done. Motion by Commissioner Coyle, second by Commissioner Johnson. Any further discussion? All those in favor, sign aye. All opposed? Okay.
I want to thank Chairman Bryant for his time, and I know it was a bunch of time, and the meeting, I understand, fairly long, but I appreciate you taking up the slack for all of us.
Yeah, no problem. Commissioner doing some others was there, but it went very well. Ms. Smith was there too, I believe. Okay.
Yes, thank you. The next item is the NCACC Legislative Goals Conference is coming up in November. At a previous meeting, we had appointed Chairman Bryant to serve as the voting delegate. When we needed to get everyone registered, they asked for an alternate. And so we did not discuss that at your last meeting, but I do request that you designate an alternate for this conference so that we can turn it into NCACC.
When is the meeting?
It is in November. We have Chairman Bryant, Vice Chairman Manning, and Commissioner Brewer registered to attend.
I'll nominate Commissioner Brewer.
I'll second the nomination.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Coyle, second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor by the sign aye. All opposed?
Okay, thank you. And the last item, I'm actually going to have Ms. Christina Wells come up and discuss this item with you because she knows a lot more about it than I do.
While she's coming up, Ms. Brewer said, I want to do this.
Good morning again, Chairman and Commissioners. We were approached recently by Mr. David Birdsong. If you're not familiar with David, he's a wonderful gentleman who lives here in Halifax. He's the owner of the White House on the corner of Dobbs and St. David, right across from the Health Department and the historic Halifax Visitor Center. So he has recently donated that house to the Friends of Edward Cheek House and Museum. And he is planning for that to be turned in completely to a museum. He will no longer reside in the residence after the end of the year. He had another great idea, as highlighted in your agenda materials. He approached me about donating a bench to Halifax County. And normally, of course, DO would have authority to accept a small donation, but he did apply a couple of specific parameters that we explained in the agenda packet. One was that the bench be located on the strip of grass that's in front of the parking lot by the Health Department on Dobbs Street, because that is the site where the original Edward Cheek house stood. And Edward Cheek was alive at the time that this historic courthouse was being constructed. So David's idea was to locate a bench as close as possible to where Edward Cheek's front porch would have been, and so that anyone sitting on that bench could look at the back of the historic courthouse and kind of see the vision that Mr. Cheek was able to see when he was sitting on his front porch. So that's the only parameter. They will donate the bench. Going forward, if you choose to accept the donation, we will, of course, maintain the grass around the bench, which we already do, and any maintenance that would have to be done to the bench to make sure it was attractive and safe for visitors. But as I'm sure you already know, Edward Cheek was the first African-American postmaster in Halifax, North Carolina. So pretty cool. I think it would be a nice addition for the upcoming 250th celebration.
Okay. And I'm assuming that you all are recommending that we accept it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, you've heard the information coming from county management. What is your pleasure?
Move that we accept the donation.
Okay, motion been made by Ms. Johnson. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Smith. Any further discussion?
I just have a question. The house will be donated to the historic When will it be done?
It will actually be donated to the Friends of Edward Cheek Museum, and it's going to be a museum not just featuring Mr. Cheek and his family, but an African-American heritage museum. So with that and the visitor center renovations and the Bradford Denton House, which is also located behind that structure, we're really adding some great historical value there.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. All opposed? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. All right, Ms. Denton, did you have something else?
I did not, I just wanted to thank you for that, and that was a kind of a cool little thing to add in as we get ready for the 250th. And it'll be kind of really just another piece that's going to make Halifax very exciting during that time. But that's all for me, unless you had questions for me.
Yeah, on this 250th, I'm sure y'all are engaged with the schools to try to get, history is going by the wayside, and kids are not learning it now.
We've reached out to all 3 school systems for their superintendents to be involved in the committee.
And I guess also at the time of the ceremony, not only I think we'll reach out to the public school system, but we'll reach out to the private as well, because it's all about educating all the kids in Halifax County.
This is a history-rich.
Yeah, so, but I'm sure what she's talking about is as far as the committee and all that.
Right, and as Lori was mentioning earlier, when we get a budget and a timeline kind of nailed down for the entire event, that's when we'll reach out to the schools to make sure that they know, so that hopefully they can do field trips.
Right.
And come here and be part of the festivities.
Yeah. That's a lot going on in this county.
It's going to be very, very busy.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not about that, but have you received any feedback from the summer recreational program?
From the programs that we funded for this year? I don't remember, did you hear her question, Christine? Commissioner Johnson asked if we had gotten any feedback from the Recreation Partners program from the programs that were funded for this past summer.
I have not, but I can follow up on that and have a report at the next meeting.
Okay, because I know that you said in our meetings that we would have some type of evaluation coming from.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson, for that. Okay, anyone else? Yeah, this 250th celebration is major. I mean, it's just, wow. There's a good chance we know the governor will be here as well.
Should be.
Yeah, we would like to see the governor.
Absolutely.
Or she.
Or she.
I'm sorry. I know about that wrong time.
I bet you do it.
Yeah, we guys too. Yeah. All the position I know, they're home, I know too.
And your daughter are too.
Yeah, that's right.
Other questions for me? Otherwise, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll hear from Turner Rollins, County Manager.
Thank you, Chairman.
County Attorney.
You know what, I haven't used this microphone yet.
It's very loud.
It is. Yeah, I've noticed. I don't have anything for open session. I do have a couple of matters to discuss in closed session. One concerns an update on the opioid litigation and some direction I'll need from you. The other is a matter that is best discussed with attorney-client privilege. But nothing for open session, thank you. And I know you've got some stuff, economic development, in closed session.
Ms. Scott, we're here for you about what you have.
Yes, I have several items from closed session, yes.
Okay, all right. Ms. Dunn, anything else?
No, so just be go over the economic development.
Okay. Can we get a motion for those two things from, in closed session? Thank you, Madam Clerk.
I don't know, do we have to cite the,
I can tell you that one of the items I have is about our opioid litigation. The other is just attorney-client privilege. I don't have to be specific about
we don't
that.
have to cite the
The statute of, no, also for those matters.
Mr. Chairman, excuse me, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Would like to commend Ms. Bent for having on her feet today.
Thank you.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and, want y'all to see I got my time.
And where did you get your
I
title?
would like to say that this time belongs to my late son, Marcel Smith.
That is amazing.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I sort of rambled through his stuff there, I found this book. Just like Marcel.
Yes, we have.
So nice.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith, for sharing that, and, very nice, very nice. When I got there, that's exactly what you told me.
Yes, sir. It belongs to my late son.
And Miss Hinton looks well, too. She got some earrings that matches her dress, and she told me.
Thank you. Fun story, Liz.
All right,
Jump on there and think also.
Yes.
that's right. You gotta be a real man or a pig, right? Okay, we got to do a closed session for 3 matters. One involving the attorney, economic development, and closed session minutes. Can I get a motion? All right, motion by Commissioner Coyle, second by Commissioner Brewer. Is there further discussion? All those in favor by the sign of aye. All opposed? You know, y'all, this is much easier than me talking about y'all brain everything.
We see how much the public wanted to be here today.
All right. What do you want to get? Let's get it on.
They're going to pause our YouTube.